Good morning. I am Alice Nutter, a practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and welcome. I so want to welcome you to our live broadcast. We are a loving, expansive, powerful, and prosperous community in the heart of Capitol Hill and here online. Our primary concern is always for the well-being, support, and growth of our community. And we are so grateful that you have chosen to join us today to watch our service. We plan on being here every week on our virtual platform so that we can encourage and uplift each other and stay connected. I do have some announcements. We will continue to meet online for the coming weeks until we feel that it is safe for our community to return to the center on 789 Sherman Street. We will need to check with the building people as well as our congregation to see what they feel most comfortable with. In the meantime, please feel free to share ideas in the chat or by emailing info@csldenver.org, and we will listen. Know, too, that we are here for you and are so grateful that you have joined us this morning. We will continue to hold each other and every one of you in our prayers. And we will be having a virtual fellowship right after service via Zoom. You will need to RSVP by emailing info@csldenver.org, and Amy will send you an invitation by email for you to click in and join the fellowship right after service. And we would love for you to join us, catch up, and see how everybody else is doing. And we have landed on having a class. It will start on Wednesday, May 6th. And it's called Keys to Consciousness for Personal Growth. And so it's about keys to expanding our consciousness. It's going to run for 4 Wednesdays, about 2 hours each day, each evening. And it will either start at 6 or 6:30, depending on, basically who's signed up and what their preference is. It's a suggested love offering of $20, and we will need a minimum of 8 people to join. So if you're interested in taking that class online with Reverend Delzia and one of the practitioners, you can, again, email info@csldenver.org. And I think that's it for the announcements.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tim Hancock. I'm a practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. I invite you all to close your eyes and move into that inner self, that consciousness deep in your soul that is the face of God. And as we sit in the moment of divine spirit, we know divine is in, through, and around all of us. We know in these days of where we are challenged with the health issues of the world, that being within ourselves allows us to grow and to bring forward our greatest adventures and ideas and inspirations. And being in this world that we have been set in, we absolutely know that we are the divine. We have the knowledge, we have the know-how, we have the courage, and we have the inspiration to move through all. For we are guided by the one presence, one spirit, the one power. And as we move into today's service, we know we are all blessed. We know everyone who is tuned into this telecast is blessed. We bless the words of Alice. We bless the words of myself and the music of Karen Drucker. And we bless the words of Robert Brzezinski, Reverend Robert, who will be here shortly. So let's just go ahead and sit back and relax into the divine presence of God, knowing that all is good. And so it is. Now for our reading today, I got this out of a book by Jack Canfield. Like a fire in the wild, the fire in our souls needs to be nourished so it can inspire, radiate, and give warmth. At first, one must simply listen to one's heart and follow the inklings of one's soul to find this inner fire kindled. In our disconnected state with the wild, perhaps no one taught us that this fire in our belly had to be fed with curiosity and playfulness, at other times with love, with discipline and commitment, and at other times with sweat, tears, and even blood. This continual burning builds our character, our integrity, and our spiritual backbone. The fire I speak of is not a decorative fire that you keep at a safe distance and temperature. This is the fire that will consume and transform you, gut you out as it eats and spits out any false image of yourself, and that which doesn't belong to you is released into the ethers. You must be willing to burn and melt away in the fire of transformation to rise as phoenix from your own ashes. You must be ready to put down, shed, let go, surrender that which no longer serves your soul's purpose, and let the fire take it all away. The sacred fire in your belly and heart will ask for this and more so you can shine with the light of your own soul. Not the one you borrowed from your mother and father and friends and whoever you are so desperately trying to please and seek approval and validation from, but your very own. This fire is a fire of transformation, metamorphosis, alchemy, and once you experience its own unique flow, you will emerge transformed. Lit from within, radiant, knowing deep in your bones what it means to be alive and filled with the fire of passion. This fire is interested in what you are willing to sacrifice, give up, and let go to pursue what you love. In other words, it wants to know if you're willing to grow, to become more of who you are in the latent essence that is pulsing to come into being, in the path that is beckoning you as your own chart. This fire of transformation entails growth, a shedding of sorts, a letting go of layers of being to reveal the luminosity of your innermost self liberated. And from our founder, Ernest Holmes, we walk by falling forward. Water falls by its own weight. The planets are eternally falling through space. Everything sustains itself by nature. The only reason man is limited is that he has not allowed the divine within him to more completely express. There is a place within us that lies open to the infinite. And so it is. And now to the music.
Your gift might be playing melodies on the piano, or maybe your gift might be singing pretty like a sparrow, or maybe you can talk to people, make them feel good inside, or maybe you're an actress making people laugh or cry. Whatever it might be, show the world so we can see. You got to shine, spread your wings and fly. Show the world just how you shine. Claim your gift and don't deny. Sometimes you got to move on, show the world what's going on. Whatever it might be, show the world so we can see. You might be a leader, teaching people to be bold, or you could be a runner racing to get that gold. Or sometimes you might make mistakes and give your gift up. RFK said, I dream of things that never were and ask why not. Whatever it might be, show the world so we can see. You got to shine, spread your wings and fly. Show the world just how you shine. Claim your gift and don't deny. Sometimes you got to move on, show the world what's going on. Whatever it might be, show the world so we can see. Be free, see, be You got to shine, spread your wings and fly. Show the world just how you shine. Claim your gift and don't deny. Sometimes you got to move on, show the world what's going on. Whatever it might be, show the world so we can see.
Well, hello, dear ones. Reverend Robert Brzezinski with you here. Say a quick shout out and a thank you to Freddy Rodriguez Jr. Thank you, Freddy, for all the work you did this week and putting together the music for us. And also a really quick thank you to practitioner Tim Hancock. I tell you, I love when Spirit does my job for me. And that reading this morning, Tim, wraps up really in a nutshell what we're going to discuss and what we're going to share and what we're going to experience here in the next 15 minutes or so. So again, thank you for that, Tim. For those that may not be familiar, my name's Reverend Robert Brzezinski. I live in Arvada, Colorado, and I'm an ordained minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living. My current work is varied due to the current situation in the world, and primarily I am the spiritual and creative director of a small ministry called the New Thought Media Network. And New Thought Media Network is also part of New Thought Radio. So we'll just give you a little feel for who I am, but more importantly, what we're here to talk about today is the fire in the belly. And the fire in the belly is a time for reflection, revelation, revolution, and restoration. A rededication of one's life to spirit and a recommitment to spiritual practice. Now, some of you may find that concept very familiar, and it doesn't escape me. It's a very fun time to be with you folks. Number one, these things get set up months in advance. And when Reverend Elzia chatted with me and asked me if I could come in and speak, I said, yeah, absolutely. We started throwing dates around, and neither of us quite realized that yesterday was the start, or the day before was the start of Ramadan. And so we're in the very beginnings of Ramadan. And the truth is, you have in your community a much more, a bigger expert on Ramadan than I will ever be, and that is Reverend Elzia himself. And just yesterday we were chatting, and he laughed. He's like, if I had known, I don't know if I would have given you this talk. But it's really fun because there's a great story. When I very first met Reverend Elzia, it was Ramadan, and we were both in ministerial school together. And it's a story that it's a bit long, so I'm not going to tell you that one here today. But I promise I'll tell you that story sometime, and it's a really good one because it helped me to understand and to set up in my ministerial career a deeper reverence for more than what I understand, more than the philosophies and the practices of I've followed. And yet those four principles are so important. Ramadan is a time of reflection, a time to turn within and look within at what's been going on and what you want in your life, what's working. It's a time of revelation where new vision emerges, where new ideas show up in your world, where you have an opportunity to really see and hear the revelation of spirit. Now, it is also a time of revolution. And in that, I don't personally look at revolution as lifting up of arms. A revolution in this case is an inner revolution. It's a commitment to push back on the old and limiting beliefs, the things that no longer serve us, and to promote and bring forth a greater expression of our lives, a greater expression of what we really desire in our life. And then finally, it's restoration. It's the time to be still and a time to let go, to slow down. Now, all of this stuff put together as a practice, well, the intent is to bring us to a place of purity, a place of cleanliness, and I believe a place of clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of intention, clarity of desire. Most important, clarity around the vision that is emerging for our life. So, yes, Ramadan is a time of rededicating ourselves to our spiritual practices because it is in those practices that we find that truth, that clarity, the purity that we are here to experience. And we might be a few days late to the party if you hadn't heard this. However, Ramadan does continue through May 23rd, so we have plenty of time to get on board and experience Ramadan in our own way. And that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about here today. So I believe no real science of mind chat talk would be complete without some words by Ernest Holmes, our founder. And these words are on page 358 of The Science of Mind. If we could stand aside and let this one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people. Now, I want us to remember that Holmes, while he talks a lot about physical healing, we also heal at the mental level, we heal at the spiritual level, we heal at the emotional level. And healing takes a lot of different perspectives and looks a lot of different ways. Part of what I love about that quote as well is it pushes me to look just a little bit deeper. And one of the things I've noticed about this book, The Science of Mind, great book. And when you find a quote like this that catches your eye, well, don't stop there. Keep looking. Because at the bottom of that same paragraph, Holmes also writes, we must forget everything else and let our word be spoken with deep inner realization of love, beauty, peace, poise, power, and the greater presence of life at the point of our own consciousness. At the point of our own consciousness, where we are in the moment. Now, in the moment, many of us are in places we never intended to be, we don't want to be. We're in places where we don't know what to do. We're in a place, both physically and mentally, where there is quite a bit of human uncertainty out there. And I say human uncertainty because for me, there's no question that at the end of all this, when we get through this virus, when we get through this health thing, there's still God. So I live from that deep sense of assurance that there is good in here somewhere. And I invite you to join me in that, to be in that place where we really do recognize whatever is in the highest, whatever's necessary for my highest and best good comes to me exactly as it's necessary. It's in this practice of remembering, of reflecting, that we find that clarity of our own calling. Simply put, folks, we are all here for a purpose. Your life matters. The gifts, the skills, the talents that you bring to this thing called life, well, those are things that only you can bring. And so your life matters. Your contribution matters, even if that's just sitting, even if that's just being, even if that's just silence. Your contribution is vital to the evolution of human consciousness. And that's what's happening here. Humanity is making a great and magnificent evolutionary leap into a greater unknown, into a greater expression of community and connection, what it means to be a friend, what it means to, what is essential, what is not. In all of that, what we're finding ourselves is, I am, and I trust many of you are, a deeper calling to serve this evolutionary process, however that might be. And if right now all that is sitting still and being silent and listening deeply, that's okay. If your practice right now is to stand and draw attention to the injustices in the world, to the inequities in the human realm, that's okay. If your place is really to be, to just paint, to reveal, to paint, to be creative, well, that's where we are. That's our personal Ramadan, our personal time to step away from the world, to step away from the normalcy, which no longer serves, and step into something new, something bigger, something grander. We have another quote for you. This is from Soul Lessons and Soul's Purpose by Sonia Choquette. There is no limit to what you can create as long as you can visualize it. Do not concern yourself with how the desired creation will come about. All we have to do, really, is get clear, believe that we can have whatever desire it is, whatever truth it is that you desire, whatever experience, whatever opportunity. If we get clear that that is our purpose, that is why we are here, then there is nothing that can stand in our way of creating that, of demonstrating that. But we have to visualize, we have to know what it is that we're looking for. We've got to get clear. And then do not concern yourself with how the desired creation will come about. In spiritual mind treatment, I often hear a phrase that comes through my mind and through my heart. And the piece is in that release stage of our prayer of spiritual mind treatment, there is a concept where I do not question how or when or why any of what is happening comes into being. I do not question how or when or why. I rest in that deep sense of faith, deep sense of trust and assurance that God's got this, that all is happening according to a divine plan. Now, I can't always see that plan. And I know right now, especially, it's very difficult for many to see that plan. However, what I have to do is stay and know that there is a plan. Now, I personally do that through visioning. It is my personal favorite spiritual practice. And around the Centers for Spiritual Living and New Thought in general, there are a number of primary spiritual practices. And I can tell you, 95% of the conversations I've had in the past month have come back to, how's your spiritual practice? Have you doubled down on it, or have you cut back on it? Have you found a reason to not do that practice, to skip that half hour in the morning, to whatever? Or are you leaning into your spiritual practice even more? See, I believe right now is the supreme time to be doing this type of work. Right now is the supreme time to prove these principles in the world. And what I know is each of you has a way to do that. You each have a gift, and you're being called to give that gift into the world right now. Whether that's a gift of consciousness, whether you're making masks, whether whatever it might be, that's the big work right now. To show up authentically as religious scientists, as spiritual beings, as practitioners, as ministers, as just members of the community, believing that we can have a world that works for everyone. That we are right now in the midst of creating a world that works for everyone. And it happens moment by moment by moment. Rumi said, when the brain and the belly burn from fasting, every moment a new song rises out of the fire. I love that. When the brain and the belly burn from fasting, and that's what we're doing during this Ramadan season. We are fasting to create the fire in the belly, to create that burning sensation that I must go create. And what do we create? We create a new song. We create a new painting. We create a new book. We create a new relationship. And more importantly, right now, we are creating a new paradigm of life on this planet. Not death, life. How we live and how we move forward together in this thing called life. I think it's pretty amazing time, folks, to be on the planet, to be in spiritual community, even though we can't hug each other and touch each other. And man, I get it. Yeah, I saw this one the other day, and I gave it a big, huge agreement. When we're allowed back out in the world, you can expect a big old hug from me. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. I'm going to be hugging everybody I can find. Because for me, that's been a personal challenge in this. Those meaningful connections. And there's no better way to say, hey, I hear you, I see you, than a good old-fashioned hug. So I want you to know we shall hug again. I promise you that we shall hug again. But we've still got some time in Ramadan. We still have time where we need to get to be in our own personal space, reflection, revelation, restoration, revolution. So we've got until May 23rd. We're in Ramadan. Ramadan lasts until May 23rd. I'm going to challenge you between now and May 23rd to fast from one thing. Just pick one thing. When I first got into this philosophy, a great teacher shared with me that if you put one thing in order in your life, anything, one thing in order, then by the laws of the universe, everything else has to line up behind that. And at the time, he asked me, well, what if that one thing was your spiritual practice? What if you just got your one thing, your spiritual practice in order, and you were committed to that, and you were dedicated to that, that it would follow that everything else in your life is going to line up behind that. So for the rest of this month, into the month of May, during this Ramadan season, what is one thing that you can fast from, that you can let go of? That doesn't mean you can't pick it up again. Come May 24th, if you want to pick it up, pick it up. Perhaps that's alcohol. Perhaps that's some other dependency. Perhaps that is just letting go of the nightly news. Perhaps that is letting go of Facebook. Well, not on May 1st, but that'd be a real tough one for some of us, right? But what is one thing that you can fast from between now and the 23rd? And what I believe is if you give yourself the gift of a personal Ramadan, whatever that's going to mean for you, you will have the ability, the opportunity to get clear. Now, you're going to listen deeply because giving things up, being on that fast, creates the fire in the belly. But we're going to use that fire to create from. Listen deeply. Allow the fire to kindle between now and May 23rd. Invest in your spiritual practices. I believe for far too long, human culture, humanity, we've had a fire in our mind. We've had the fire in our mind to build. We've had a fire in the mind to explore and create and amass as much money as we possibly can. And I really believe it's time to move that fire into the belly, to get out of our heads, to feel with the heart, but really let your gut call you. Feel it in the belly. What's that fire for you? And what are you going to use that for during this Ramadan season? Dear ones, I love you. I know you are blessed. I know that this experience is a blessing. And I'm going to invite you now that if you're so inclined to join me in prayer, and if you're a professional practitioner or minister of this movement and you care to stand and join me in consciousness, I can't see you. Nobody watching the screen can see you. But I'm not gonna stand or we'd have to play with camera angles. But I'm gonna invite you to join me in a spiritual mind treatment. And so I come to that stillness. I come to the stillness to recognize God. I set aside the hustle and the bustle of my day, everything it took to be in this moment, everything it took to be here. I set all that aside so I may come and know the one. So I may come and reflect upon God and recognize God as the source, as the supply, as that never-ending wellspring of love and light and beauty, truth and health and wealth and well-being, abundance, prosperity. I come and recognize God as that self-existent cause that is forever taking on form and abandoning that form in order to take on new form. I come to recognize God as the perfect expression of life, life everlasting, life completely, totally. And I recognize God as all life, every furry creature and creepy crawly creature, winged creature, feathered creature, and yes, humans. I recognize God living and breathing and having its being as everyone across this entire planet and beyond. Regardless of race or belief or religion or politics or any of that humanness, I recognize the smile, the face, the creative spark of God in everyone I meet. And so I know that this power and this oneness is bringing forth a great revelation onto the planet at this time. A great opportunity to reveal a bigger vision, a grander vision, a great opportunity to step into the vision of a world that works for everyone. And what I know is I know that during this season, during the season in the time of Ramadan, there is a great and glorious unfolding that is happening. A magnificent vision revealing itself. Humanity is awakening to their spiritual magnificence, each and every one. That is the truth I claim this day. That in this moment, through this experience, each one is awakening to their own spiritual magnificence. And it is in that awakening that the call to serve, the call to create may be heard. So I claim again for each one that hears these words a sense of a personal Ramadan, a personal awakening, and a personal expression of demonstration, of moving into the world as a vessel, as the hands of God to create, to be, to express. So what I know is I know all of this is already active in the mind of God. I'm not saying anything God doesn't know. I sit in the place of reminding myself, of raising my own vibration and allowing those that agree to rise up alongside. Together, deeply, we are one. And together, we are changing the face of human existence on this planet. And that is good, because it's God, and because it could be no other way. So I am in a place of absolute gratitude. Gratitude for this experience, for this expression, for this opportunity. Most especially grateful to know God's got this. And there's nothing more I need to. I can get myself out of the way, release this word into the law that must demonstrate, and in fact has already demonstrating the truth of this word. So I can get out of the way and I can let it be. And if any word of this has resonated with you in any way, I invite you to join me. Please join me in an affirmation of this truth as we say together. And so it is. And so it is. I'm going to bring dear Alice back on with me. Hello, dear one.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Robert, for that powerful and wonderful talk. We really appreciate it. And all of your time that you have been helping CSL Denver with our whole virtual platform. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And now it is time for our offertory. We are so grateful for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent, and especially during this time of change. Whether this is your first time joining us or you are a returning community participant, we want to thank you for your continuing financial support of this important work that we do. Right now, there are many ways you can support Center for Spiritual Living Denver. With a credit card, you can either go online to our website, www.csldenver.org, and there's a donate button in the bottom right corner, or you can grab your cell phone and just, or you're any sort of tablet or device, and text to 844-454-0918, and then type the word give and the dollar amount you would like to offer. So you would type out give and then just the amount, 20, 25, whatever amount you want to give to CSL Denver, and it will come straight to us. Check or money order, you can also send that to us at our P.O. Box. You can mail it to CSL Denver, P.O. Box 300-416, Denver, Colorado 80203. And we are also set up with King Supers and Amazon Smile, where many of you, I know I shop at Amazon. Simply link your account to Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and when you conduct your normal shopping, a percentage of all proceeds will come to your center. Email us if you would like more information on this option. And finally, we are so blessed to have you as a member of our community, and I invite you that your gifts are gifts to us, and you are a gift to us. And so as you give with us, let's repeat our affirmation that we repeat every Sunday. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. And now for some music from Freddy.
It's all good, the world we live in. It's all good, even if we forget. I'll stand strong with you beside me. Keep on trying, you and I. It's all good. People are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. We'll work it out together. It's our world. We'll build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I. It's all good. It's all good when we're together. It's all good. Two's better than one. We'll stand strong through stormy weather. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. People are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. We'll work it out together. It's our world. Build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. Freddy. People are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. We'll work it out together. It's our world. Build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. Oh, people are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. Yeah, we'll work it out together. It's our world. Build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, it's all good. And thank you,
okay.
Freddie, very much for that song. It's gorgeous. I love it. Please know that our practitioners are available for any sort of prayer work that you want, any celebrations, any challenges that you're experiencing this time. You can either go to our website, www.csldenver.org, or if you get our weekly MailChimp, that information is there as well. If you aren't receiving our MailChimp, please send us an email to info@csldenver.org and request to be put on the MailChimp mailing list, and you only get one email a week. Again, we've got the virtual fellowship right after service. If you haven't already, you can email info@cslddenver.org and request an invitation, and Amy will send you an invitation to join. And then lastly, like I mentioned earlier in the service, we are going to be starting a class on Wednesday, May 6th on Keys to Consciousness for personal spiritual growth. And Reverend Elzia will be doing it. It's a 4 Wednesdays for 2 hours, either starting at 6 or 6:30. A suggested love offering of $20. You can always give more if you want. Or if you can't, if that's tough, we understand the times and nobody will be turned away. We do need a minimum of at least 8 people to join the class. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you so much, Reverend Robert. Thank you, Tim. And thank you, Freddy and Reverend Karen Tucker for her music. And we love you all. See you next week. Love you.
Thank you all.
It's all
Bye.
good.
Thank you.
The world we live in. It's all good. Even if we forget, I'll stand strong with you beside me. Keep on trying, you and I. It's all good. People are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. We'll work it out together. It's our world. We'll build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I. It's all good. It's all good when we're together. It's all good. Two's better than one. We'll stand strong through stormy weather. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. People are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. We'll work it out together. It's our world. Build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. People are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. We'll work it out together. It's our world. Build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good. Oh, people are good. Two is better than one. Change is good. Yeah, we'll work it out together. It's our world. Build our dreams together. Keep on trying, you and I, 'cause it's all good.
Bye. Take
Bye.
care. Love
Thank
you.
you. Bless you.